Welcome back to my channel, everyone. The place where creativity shoots for the stars. I'm SquishableMoon, but you guys can call me Squishy. And today we're diving into the magical world of my own creation, my children's book. Whether you're an aspiring children's books author, like me, an artist, or just curious about my own process writing my book, you're in for a cool treat. Friendly reminder though, everything in this video is my opinion and how I work. Anything and everything in this video should be taken with a little tiny grain of salt and should be taken as opinion and not fact unless stated otherwise. But before we begin, please hit that like and subscribe button and hit the little bell notification icon in the corner so you never miss out on my weird content. This is a follow-up video from my last book update video, where I basically just showed you guys the characters I had come up with. Although they are still in development, I thought I'd talk a bit more about my book. I'm gonna try my best to structure this video, but I am still new, so bear with me. Let's get started. Discussing inspiration. For some, the journey of writing a children's book is like embarking on a whimsical adventure. But for me, it was more like stepping on Legos I left out, even though somebody told me to put them away. It all started 3 years ago. I know, a while ago. I was having a hard time mentally. Being a part of many fandoms, I never felt connected to any of my OCs or others. I struggled to find inspiration, being too scared to draw what I really enjoyed and opting out to draw whatever made money or got the most likes. I'm not saying making art for likes and money is bad, but I wasn't in a good place at the time. And for a long time, I wasn't enjoying the content I was creating. And so one day, I made a new character. And for the first time in a long time, I actually enjoyed the character. They're inspired by Worm on a String, and I used all my creative brain wrinkles and popped out Starburst. Name in progress, also known as Wormy. It was a connection unlike anything I had ever had for an OC before, and for the first time, I made a character I loved more than anything I had ever created in my entire life as an artist. I know, kind of dramatic, but at the time, I was having a really hard time doing anything in any fandoms. Now, I've been on the internet since I was like 13 or 12, having a MySpace when I was 12, and then having a Facebook when I was 13. My mom made both accounts for me, so I've been on the internet for quite a while. That is not to say that I know everything about the internet, because I do not. But I've been on the internet for a while, and I've been into many fandoms. You know, like My Little Pony, furry stuff, Gravity Falls, but after Gravity Falls was popular because I refused to watch it because it was popular. I don't understand. I don't know why I do things the way I do, but that's how it was. So I've had a bunch of different characters as an artist. I love drawing characters, so I had a bunch. I had furries, I had ponies, I had humans, but I never really felt connected to any of them as much as I tried. So I never really made very many, and when I did, I would just sell them or throw them away. I'll post some of my OCs on the screen. So the character we're going to be talking about is Starburst, like I said, or Wormy. That was their first name. Their first name was Wormy, and I later came up with the name Starburst, but I don't think I'll be able to use that because of copyright reasons, because of the candy. If anyone knows about copyright and like words, would you let me know? Because I don't think I can use Starburst as a name in a book, but I would like to. But I digress. The character I made was a Worm on a String type character. Instead, they were pink with a horn, wings, and legs. So they don't exactly look like a worm on a string, but that was my inspiration for making them. Now, my whole book was basically based on this one character, this one idea, Starburst, and her story. The other things that I had that were inspirations for making this book was My Little Pony, of course. Heavily inspired by My Little Pony because I really liked Friendship is Magic. I am also a big fan of the old My Little Pony, though some of the old movies were kind of mid, you know, but I still enjoyed them. I was also very inspired by the Owl House. I thought that was an amazing series, how they came up with plot twists that seemed to captivate everyone. I literally cried when that one plot twist where Lou's you know what, I don't want to spoil it, but for those who haven't seen it, but you know the plot twist I'm talking about at the end, kind of, where Luce is like, okay. We all know what I'm talking about unless you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, go watch The Owl House. It's mwah, chef kiss. Steven Universe was also an inspiration, though I didn't like Steven Universe as much as I could have, I think. There are a lot of aspects about Steven Universe that I didn't like, but there was a lot about it I did like. I really liked the overall themes, like the crystal gems and all that, but I kind of wish that there was something more. I didn't necessarily like the ending. I thought the ending could have been... I don't know what I was expecting from the ending. I just think it could have been better. This is also very much inspired by old cartoons I used to watch when I was a kid, like Maisie Mouse and Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. When I think of kids stuff, I think of those. Maisie Mouse especially, because I loved that when I was little. Maggie and the Ferocious Beast was a classic when I was a kid. I loved those shows more than anything, and I really want to make something that is iconic as those. And of course, old Disney and DreamWorks stuff, like The Dark Cauldron is probably one of my most favorited movies from when I was a kid, even though it used to scare the hell out of me. That movie, I don't know, as like a little kid, watching The Dark Cauldron was absolutely terrifying. There were a lot of inspirations, but those were my main ones. I knew that I just wanted to make something around it since I really liked the character. And I mean, I drew a lot of fan art of her, like too much. Some would say bordering on obsession, but I digress. Developing characters. Next comes the characters, the heart and soul of any great story. If you haven't already, go check out my first video on my book where I show off the characters in more detail, with a longer amount of info about them. Creating characters was, without a doubt, my favorite part of this creative journey. As an artist, I found so much joy in sketching and painting every line and every expression and every detail of the characters. Their clothes, mwah! I love looking on Pinterest for hours, just looking at different aesthetics and different cores. Do you know how many aesthetic cores there are? There's like grandma core, there's cottage core, farm core, crazy core, clown core, Lolita core, dark academia, kid core, sport core, e-boy core, punk, cottage, vintage, poet, hippie. You know, there's so much. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. In my first video, I shared glimpses of my characters, their faces, their quirks, and the magical world they came from. While I loved the characters I had created, I felt like they needed more polish to them, to chisel away the rough edges and reveal the gems within, you know? This was honestly my favorite part, but it was also probably the hardest part. As an artist, I can draw basically anything I set my mind to. I can draw all of my characters, which made it a lot easier to envision what they would be like in my story. And while I love the characters I came up with, I still think they need a little vavoom. They need more, you know? I think I still need to go in depth on who they are, figure out what their goal is in my story, to really figure out what dynamic of clothes they need. I'm sorry, this makes no sense. I like accidentally rewrote parts of my script over for some reason that I'm reading. I am so bad at scripting, guys. I am so sorry. You can tell too because I'm reading it and I'm like, what the heck is this? What did I write? Why did I write the same thing 3 times? Like, I'm not even joking. There's the same line 3 times. Why did I do? Okay, but whatever. So I think it's really important that people resonate with the characters I've created. Especially with making characters that resonate with the audience that I'm aiming to market towards. So this is a kid's book. I do have to say it is a kid's book. Being around the ages of from 8 and higher. While this is a kid's book though, I very much want it to be a story for all ages. Sort of like how My Little Pony had people of all ages. It had kids, it had adults, it had people in between. Everyone liked My Little Pony. Especially since I feel like they didn't water it down for kids. I feel like some shows tend to make their show dumb because they think kids are dumb, when I believe kids are actually really smart. They're easy to adapt to things, and they do see nuances that are there. Kids aren't stupid. They're gonna understand things that we don't think they can understand. And I think kids have the ability to understand complex situations, sometimes better than some adults. Now, I'm just gonna go over the characters really quick because I did go over some of them in my other video. So like I said, Starburst or Starlight is the main character. She is pink, blue, and yellow. Her main colors being pink and yellow. She is gonna have a horn and wings, kind of like an alicorn or a pegacorn. Her theme for clothing, I really wanted to make sure they all had their unique like aesthetic, which was really hard for Starlight because I didn't really know what aesthetic she had. I know that I kind of wanted her to have more quirky clothes, so I'm thinking about mixing her with Dark Academia and Kidcore, which seems like a weird combination, but I feel like they would go really well together. I'll post some of my inspiration for her clothes on screen. I like the Dark Academia, but also Light Academia is very cute. Kind of want shorts, maybe skirts, and like maybe more of like academic type look. Though I'm not really sure if that would suit the main character or not. I wouldn't say Starlight or... So Starlight or Starburst, Wormy, whatever you have. I wouldn't say they're like typically an academic character is the thing. They're not exactly super smart, but they're not stupid either. Which is why I really want... I kind of wanted them to have kind of a quirky Kidcore vibe, but felt like Kidcore might not fit them to a T because of another character I have. The second character we're going to go into is Acorn. They are the sporty core, e-boy core, and punk type aesthetic. So I think it's important when making characters, it can be fun to just give them one aesthetic and keeping them only on that. But on everyday life, I hardly ever see a person just doing one specific aesthetic. I usually see people mixing aesthetics to make their own kind of aesthetic, which I think is really cool. You kind of mix and match your own aesthetic. So Acorn, they are a sporty character. So obviously sport core makes sense. I want them to have like baggy pants, maybe a tight top, maybe a jacket of some kind. I don't see them wearing skirts ever, so no skirts unless it's like a skirt with shorts underneath, like a skirt. And also I think punk aesthetic suits them really well, even though I don't really see them as a punk. Okay, but punk has a lot of rules that I don't really understand. I have not researched punk culture, so you'll have to excuse me. But if I'm correct, punk is about kind of like defying the system and like being free or something. Okay, Google says that punk is a style or movement characterized by the adoption of aggressively unconventional and often bizarre or shocking clothing, hairstyles, makeup, etc. And the defiance of social norms or behavior usually associated with punk rock musicians and fans, a punker. So I guess also punk could be a definition for like liking who you are, being yourself, saying what you think, and frick all of the rest of the people kind of stuff, you know, being free and being who you are and saying what you think and all that. Like, I guess free-minded is what I'm thinking of. I assume that's what they mean. Okay, so Blueberry. Blueberry was the one that I was thinking might need to be Kidcore as well. They are going to be the farmer character, so I wanted to go with Cottagecore, Farmcore, and Grandmacore. They live on a farm. I think they're going to have siblings. I want their house to feel really cozy because they are also the baker of the group. So their house is very like cozy-wozy. It's like a cabin. It has like doilies and teacups and like old knick-knack shelves. You know what I mean? I'll put some images on the screen. I don't even know what I mean. Bubbles, which was a lot of people's favorites. Obviously, they're going to be Lolita core mixed with vintage fashion. Now, vintage fashion is a very iffy thing for me. There's a lot of fashion things that I don't like that are vintage. Mainly because I feel like I wouldn't fit into them, you know? I have a very, like, I have a large chest. So it won't fit into a lot of vintage things. I feel like a lot of vintage clothes wasn't made for like plus size. Not that I'm plus size, but I digress. I don't know. Plus size people. I feel like vintage clothing wasn't made for them, which was the reason I was gonna give it to Bubbles instead of Blueberry, because Blueberry is the plus size character and Bubbles is the more like string bean type character. You know, they're very petite, they're very tiny. So I thought maybe some vintage clothes in Lolita would be nice. Bubbles' aesthetic was very much based on princess clothes and Lolita stuff. I feel like she would have a sort of princess or librarian theme. Because she is a string bean, I feel like more layers on her would look a lot better. I also feel like she would be the more cutesy, adorable looking one, maybe like baby dollish. So a lot of my inspiration for Bubbles was, like I said, Lolita clothes, cute clothes, but I feel like she would also be a very modest character. Because she is so string bean, I feel like modesty would look a lot better on her figure. She is also the very shy character, so I want to make sure that her clothes reflect her personality, and she looks very much like a shy character, so specifically no super short skirts or shorts, probably no holes in her clothes. She would probably prefer long skirts, sweaters, and jackets over more revealing clothing. Probably never wear fishnets or anything like that, but I don't see her wearing high heels either. I feel like she's very much simple, but elegant. Sparkfire was also another character I had trouble with. So I definitely want them to have the poet shirt. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The big poofy poet shirt, like what's that movie called? Interview with the Vampire. Remember how they have that big white poofy... Are they wearing a white shirt? I haven't seen that movie in 5 ever. But poet shirts, I'll show you. But I love poet shirts. Also hippie stuff I feel like could be mixed into their aesthetic. I feel like very natural earthy tones could be fine. Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out. She is the tall buff character. What if we put her in a suit? Okay, suits are hot. I love suits. Like a suit with a long like trench coat. That would be so, like a London fog coat. That would be so nice. So I want them to have more of like a bold... Either they're going to be super lazy or super bold. Nowhere in between. And I think that could be a nice aesthetic for Sparkfire. Editing Squishy here. Someone in the comments did ask to see what their heights and color palettes would all look like next to each other. So I am going to insert that here really quick. Thank you for the advice, by the way. Discussing illustrations. Now let's talk about the illustration aspect of my book. I really feel like a crucial element to any and a lot of children's books are the illustrations. They can bring your story to life, adding something very, very needed, like visuals to your world, helping you build your world from the ground up. As an illustrator myself, I have chosen to draw all of the work for my book myself. But also because I'm very, very incredibly broke, and your girly bro cannot afford any artwork at this time, okay? I cannot do that. So it's kind of out of necessity as well. Because, I mean, I feel like you can't have a kid's book without, you know, art. I feel like art is like the best part about a kid's book. And let me tell you, drawing artwork is no walk in the park. When you know it's going to be printed inside an actual book, especially since people are going to be paying for it and seeing it while reading the book, I have to ensure my artwork complements the narrative and that I'm using bright, vibrant colors or expressive characters and making sure everything blends into the book and that it matches what the people are reading. And that's super freaking hard, especially as a first-time writer like myself. And, I mean, I'm not, like, the best artist out there. I'm okay, but, like, I'm not, like, amazing. So when it comes to my book, I believe illustrations are basically one of the most important elements in the book. They have the power to transform words into a vibrant image. I've drawn a lot of artwork for the book. Some got trashed, some I still have, especially since the characters have gone through a few different designs already. I spent many nights just redesigning their characters that I had to redraw the art that they were in. Some of the pages in the book I just completely got rid of because I got rid of the chapter that they correlated to. While I was filled with lots of love for the pages and art that I had made, there was also a lot of self-doubt. Hours spent redrawing, redesigning were spent second-guessing and tossing ideas into the trash bin. And in the end, I came up with some pretty okay characters, but I feel like they could have come out better. Whether it was my art style or my abilities holding me back, or my lack of design expertise, I am still unsure. I have drawn many pages for the book already, trying different art styles and even experimenting with different brushes from Gumroad. I do know that I want a bright, fun, and over-the-top theme for the artwork. But I know my skills as an artist aren't quite there yet. However, that hasn't really stopped me from trying. When has that ever stopped me from drawing what I want? Even if the artwork in the book isn't like super amazing, I'm sure I'll get better with practice. And I mean, the art's okay. I think kids will still enjoy it, though I feel like maybe some of the adults may drag me in the comments. Creating the plot. Once I had my characters, it was time to weave them into an engaging plot line. Children's stories often revolve around valuable life lessons. Friendship, courage, kindness. And you gotta plan it beginning, middle to end. And of course, we cannot forget to dish out some funny humor and surprises to keep your readers hooked. I have to be honest, I didn't do a storyboard for this book. A lot of the book were ideas I had that were so frustrating to patch together. Even after watching writing videos and TikToks, which are really helpful, by the way. There's a bunch of TikToks about writing your book. And while not every single person's advice is gonna work for you, there was a lot of advice that really helped, especially from a couple that I follow, which are... I'm forgetting all of their names, every name that I've ever... Okay, all names are gone from my brain now, so I will have to link them later. I struggled to fit things together, even cutting out whole entire chapters so the story could flow better. Like I have mentioned, I am very new to writing. Even when I was younger, I never really wrote much. I think this is because some of the advice my mom had given me stayed with me for a long time, though I may have taken it a little too literally as an autistic creator. You know, I think I may have taken it a little too literally. My mom once told me, never show your writing to others because you never know who may steal it. And I think that was pretty fair advice. However, I never wrote anything on paper out of fear of someone reading it. Me not writing wasn't due to just this, of course. Growing up, I had always had reading difficulty and spelling and comprehension issues. Even to this day, I have a large fear of others reading my writing and judging me by my horrible spelling and grammar. Of course, not from lack of trying to correct myself and learn to spell and comprehend better. I just have a harder time picking things up compared to others my age, and always have. It doesn't help that I have dyslexia and everything sucks to read. This was also a reason why I thought I would never in a million zillion years be able to write a book. For one reason or another, I would talk myself out of it. But reading was always an issue for me. But I do have a small story that's fun I can tell you. When I was in elementary, a young little baby taught small baby Squish. I had the lowest score on every reading, spelling, and comprehension test given to our class. Suffice it to say, I was scared of all those tests because I knew when I got the result back, I would be the last in the class. However, one summer, my mom took me to a new library near the place that we had moved. It was a really nice library, by the way. The library sat at the bottom of a national park and hiking trail. It even got renovated to have workout equipment along the trails, and even a really cool rockway to sit. Now, a fun fact about me, teehee, I love libraries so freaking much. They smell amazing on the inside, and the fact that you have to be quiet makes me so happy. I've always hated loud noises because I get spooked very easily. And since after finding out that I was an autistic person, I understand that maybe loud noises just weren't for me. I've even considered getting noise-canceling earphones to wear in public. The library had a large manga and anime selection, and I had never seen that in the library before. And it was full of manga series and graphic novels like Inuyasha, Bone, Vampire Knight, Bleach, and many, many more. With my trusty dusty library card, I would borrow up to 60 to 70 books and spend my night reading them. I would absolutely annihilate all of those books within 3 hours and ask my mom to take me again the next day so I could borrow more books. Once school had started again, my score went from the lowest to the class to the highest. I went from the lowest to the highest in one summer. My teachers were, in fact, very, very impressed and could not believe how much my comprehension had changed over the course of one summer. And of course, that was the moment I peaked. I didn't peak in high school. I peaked in elementary. I will never live up to that high ever again. And to this day, I still prefer to read manga over watching the anime. I don't read that much anymore, unfortunately. The only books I have read of late are all romance monster smut books. There are a few books I have reread that I thoroughly enjoyed, like There and Back Again, The Hobbit, The Last Unicorn, and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, respectively. I do also read a lot of manhwas before bed, but as for novels, I'm just so picky, it's hard to read them. Sorry. I think I had a tangent and went off track. Let's go back to the plot of the book because it's not very long. The story will be about the main character's home getting destroyed by a magical slime. With the help of her new friend, she will have to leave her home for the first time in her life in order to seek the help from the Candy Queen who lives nearby. Along the way, the main character and her friend will have to travel through new destinations, picking up new friends along the way, some dangerous and some not. There will be many obstacles in her way, stopping her from reaching her destination. But in order to save her home, she'll have to get the help of other people. This is just a short little summary of the first book. There will be about 5 to 10 books in the first season. And if it does well, I would like to make another season. I'm saying seasons because I don't know what I would call it. Like, there's the first group of books is going to be about a certain thing. And then there's going to be another group of books that's going to be about the first couple of books, but like they're the same series, but like, you know how shows have like season 1, season 2, season 3, and they kind of have their own themes? It's going to be like that. Maybe I should just start another book series, but just make it a spin-off. I don't know. This is my first time writing, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. I barely know how to write. Editing and revising. So, with my story pinned and my illustrations crafted, I found myself standing at the threshold of a new and crucial phase of my journey. The editing process. Ugh. It's when the words of your book will be polished, sentences refined, and the entire narrative meticulously examined. While I am overconfident in my storytelling abilities, I knew that I could not embark on this journey alone. Thankfully, my mother, with her super intelligence that I did not inherit, and unwavering support even though she second-guessed everything I do, stepped in to be my trusty editor, and she graciously offered her time and expertise editing my pages and reading the story back to me while I sat in bed and ate potato chips. Together we edited the book, ensuring that the words flowed seamlessly. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm getting so dramatic all of a sudden. I'm feeling dramatic. Anyway, her feedback became a big guide to me while writing some of the parts of my story, and her writing and editing it for me has really encouraged me to try and write better in the future so she does not have to suffer as much. That poor woman, the suffering she has to go to edit my books. I mean, I'm dyslexic and my IQ is not the brightest, so I mean, imagine editing the first off, never written anything in my life, first time writer, dyslexic, can barely spell, comprehension sucks, no plot, everything was stitched together. Like, imagine how horrible that would be to edit it. It would be awful. So we both understood that the language had to be both simple and engaging, especially since this book is going to be catered to younger children. But I also know that children can understand complex emotions from characters, and I didn't want to treat children like they were stupid. So we had to find a balance between simplicity and depth to make sure that everyone was entertained. I wanted the story to be accessible to everyone, yet rich with layers, like an onion, like an ogre, that the young minds could unravel and adults could also find interesting. So, though I believe the intelligence of my young readers, I also acknowledge the importance of simplicity. After all, clarity was the key to fostering a love for reading, even though I hate reading. So, as my manuscript, I suppose it's called, underwent its first edit, I braced myself for constructive criticism that I was not ready for. And in my heart, I knew it was necessary because, you know, you gotta get constructive criticism to grow, but I hate it because I'm a little baby. being new to the world of not only writing, but even publishing, I really wanted more experienced people to give me feedback. So if you're a writer, editor, and you would like to be a beta reader, by the way, send me a email and I will hit you up when my book is out to get some constructive criticism. If you want to. I don't know if that's a good idea. Let me know in the comments if that's a good idea, because I was just gonna use a website to get beta readers, but I would honestly love to have some actual writers and authors to give me their opinion on what I wrote. But be kind, my heart is weak. Like I said, I am a very sensitive person, but I really want constructive criticism, like so bad, on my book. But it's not finished. But when it's finished, I want it. I need it, okay? I have thought of hiring a professional editor, since their critique and summary at the end of their thoughts edit would be really, really helpful for me in the long run. Their expertise, I believed, could shape my story into something truly magical. I'm scared to send my book. I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared to send my book to anyone. I still have that deep fear of sending my book somewhere and then it just being completely stolen or redone, but different. Like, here's copy my homework, but make it slightly different kind of thing going on. And I had a lot of self-doubt in my mind. Like, what if my writing really wasn't as good as I think it is? Though my expectations for my own writing are at the ground. The bar is low for me. But like, I have a bit of a fan base on Facebook, and what if I fall short and everybody's expectations are absolutely shattered once the book comes out? Or what if nobody even looks at my book? What if nobody buys it? I know that this is kind of just part of being a writer, that I'm just gonna have to get used to the uncertainty, and that this is just part of the journey of writing a book. I'm sure every great writer had faced doubts of their book doing well, and it was through these challenges that they emerged stronger and more ready to take on their next book. So as my manuscript ventured forth into their edits, I knew that I was going to anticipate some plot issues or character inconsistency, though it's a kid's book, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue, but I do want to make sure it's consistent. I prepared myself a long time ago, knowing that I may have to revise and revise and revise and edit and edit and edit. Editing is like the longest part about publishing a book. But I know that once all the edits are done, the book is going to be 1,000 times better, because my silly little brain is so unwrinkled that I can't see it, okay? I can't see all the plot holes and stuff. I need somebody to read it and tell me what all the hubbub is about, because it's like somebody flat ironed my brain. Water just falls off my brain. I have a square brain, okay? But once I finished with the editing, and I think, you know, it's perfect enough. It's good enough. It would be time to take the monumental step. Monumental step, seeking copyright and preparing for publication. I set my sights on a personal deadline. The end of October. Kind of ambitious, since I finished this book in like 4 to 5 months by myself. But I think that has a special significance to me. You see, my birthday falls October 29th. And what could be a more magical birthday gift than to gift myself my own book, to actually hold my book in my hands? The thought fills me with such anticipation and excitement, making me want to write more so I can hold the books in my hand. But honestly, editing, worst part about writing. Hate this part. Don't 10 out of 10, 1 out of 10, do not recommend. I hate editing. If you can afford it, pay somebody else to edit your book. Pay literally anyone else to edit your book if you can, because I feel like that is a really good way. Obviously that doesn't work for everyone. This is just me. This is me ranting about my book. I can't edit, okay? I would be the worst editor in the world. I'm not doing that. My mom, good at that, so she can do that. But in the future, if I had the money, I would pay somebody to do it, because it's a lot of work. You have to edit something like 3 to 4 times before it's like showable to the public. I'm in a writing group on Facebook, and some of the people have been editing their book for 3 years. 3 years. And I'm complaining about a book only taking 5 months and taking a long time to edit. I don't know why I'm complaining. When they take 3 years, I took 5. Publishing and sharing. So as for publishing, this isn't a very long part. I'm going to be self-publishing since I don't think I'm ready for traditional publishing. While you can advocate for yourself instead of having an agent, I have heard many bad tales and things about traditional publishing that I just don't want to deal with, can't deal with, and can't afford to deal with. If you're curious, I'll be using Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, since after checking the pros and cons, I think it's a good fit for a beginner like me, and way cheaper! So much cheaper! So cheap! I love it. And honestly, they have a lot of things that you can edit that is really cool. If you're not, you know, wanting to publish a book through a company, definitely check out Kindle, Amazon Kindle. They have a lot of great benefits. I'm going to be publishing my book as an ebook and as a physical copy. I will also be buying a couple copies to sign and give away. If you guys are interested in that, please share my video. Give it a subscribe, like this, share it, do all of the internet things for me, please. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers on here so I can monetize my videos. Then I can buy my own books and give them away to you guys for free. Because I really want to hold a free raffle where I can give away like 5 of my books that are signed for free. It would mean the absolute world to me. But of course you don't have to. No pressure. Closing thoughts. And there you have it. The magical journey of creating my children's book. I cannot tell you how much I love this story. It really is a thing close to my heart. Being almost able to publish it, I feel both excitement and fear. The fact that you guys are actually watching my videos on my book also makes me incredibly happy, though it kind of makes me feel like a goofball. If you found this video interesting, please give this video a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or want to share similar experiences, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, I'm SquishableMoon, and I hope all your wishes come true. Bye-bye.